have this theory, and then you go to prove that theory and you're like, well, it actually doesn't track.
Although when you come up with these theories, know, this guy put it in a percentage chance that's going to be one or the other.
Let's look. Is he trading a certain pair?
I don't know. I don't recall now. I can't even remember who it was, but he might have been trading equities.
The thing that you talked about a long time ago, and it was some things are caught, some things are taught, and I fell in love. Be careful on the rules you create for yourself, because at that time, and remember this was like many years ago, 6, 7 years ago, I was in this habit of creating like 18 billion rules.
Yeah.
But for every rules I made, it hurt the upside as much as the downside. It hurt the winning trades as much as the down trades. So let's just take a look. This one closes within. I mean, obviously we have a lot of scalp opportunities, but in theory, we're going to have a buying day. This closed within. We have a clear buy. It bounced around for a long time. This closed within. Perfect buying day. This closed within. Great sell opportunity, one range, and great buy. So this closed without and did very comparable moves. Closed within, up and down moves, smooth. I just think that rule would hurt as much as it helps, if it helps.
Mm-hmm.
And once I get to that point in my testing, so when I'm creating these concepts or these rules and I can't speak for everybody else, but just myself, when I'm creating a rule, if I'm recognizing that the rule that I think is saving me from the bad trades is costing me just as many as the good trades, it's no longer a rule I want to consider. Because this one's perfect, obviously. I mean, but that would be 1 out of, 10 days. This one gives you the sell, does consolidate. This one gives you a perfect sell, and it would have closed inside. Small sell, great buy. So that's just where I'm at, and finding my own, and not to naysay anybody else, but trying to cultivate my own standards for whatever it is, like an inside candle, for example. If I'm only taking the ones in the direction of candle 1, which was a rule I kind of really want to set for myself, and I'm looking at the basket of 100 trades, it did save me on some losers, but it cost me, and I need to do the math on this, and that's what I'm working on now. But if it costs me just as many easy wins, then I'm still causing a problem, and I have to kind of decide what that math looks like. So I don't know, we could probably get out a marker board, and if anybody wants to hang out and think with me, I'm super open to this. Where's the annotate? But if the 100 trades we take, okay, if this new rule saves us, so I don't know what symbol to make, plus or minus. Let's say it saves us from taking 15 bad trades. And assuming you're using a flat risk to reward or close to flat. If it saves us 15 bad trades, but it costs us 10 good trades. And remember, this is 100 trades based off of, I'm going to lowball it and say 1.5 to 1 just to cover fees, because we pay the fees on the bad too. Although technically what I'm personally doing is targeting the 2, calculating the 1.5 just because there's so many fees involved. But if it saves us 10 good ones, this net effect is 0. You guys all tracking that?
Yeah.
The net effect of that rule is 0 because of 1.5 to 1, you saved the 15 bad trades. It also stopped you from taking the 10 good ones. At a 1.5 to 1, the net impact of this extra thought process we're putting in is literally 0. And that's wild if you guys really think about this.
Well, and adding additional rules, it has an additional cost besides just the mathematical cost because it's slowing you down.
Yeah. And the time in the market. So remember, if we have these, however many rules, X rules, and now we skip this one because it didn't follow that. We skip this one. We take this one. We skip this one. We take this one. By the time we get to here, our emotional capital is lower. Our faith and our capacity, our mental, we already know our mental capital runs out much quicker than we think it does as human beings. So skipping these has a net negative effect, okay, of, I don't know, I'm going to put an infinity sign with a question mark, because the net negative effect is we think we're creating all these rules of what we're going to skip over and why, but you really have to factor in the cost of the decisions we're making. Because if now you've skipped these 3, this is a lot of time on the charts. Okay, this is time on the charts too. This is mental and emotional capital on the charts. if you would have just taken those, even including the losses that you took in there and digested, you would be done by here instead of by here, which, because remember, the further on your trading journey you go, your decision making gets less and less and less. So they say. Now, I know some of us can flip an account at the, what do they call it? The 13th hour? What is that called? The last hour. Okay. But, and I can do it too. Like, you had a down day, you make the dumb decision, you flip the account, and now you've had a positive day. I know some of us do that here. Okay. Power hour, according to Top Step. But, that last hour, I know some of us pull in the hard wins, but most of us, the decisions we make here are less quality than the decisions we're making here. So this is just a concept I'm thinking of when I'm cultivating the rules for that, the inside out strategy that I want to go over here soon, because it's very powerful. If you can restrain yourself, and I'm looking for the right restraints, not only for myself, but also for when we teach and preach this. And I'm trying to find the ones that have the best net impact. Because like Tim Ferriss, right? We know he's an expert like in a bajillion industries, not because he's better than you and me, but because he got really good at learning the rules in that industry and capitalized on the heck out of them. And then woohoo, he's famous for it. But his big focus is what do they call it? The minimum effective dose, right? The minimum effective dose to be effective is what I want to see. So anything I'm putting in this, I want it to be the minimum and most effective. So creating this 19 complicated rule set is not going to be net positive, then the net impact of that is not worth putting the added thought into. And I don't know which ones to include and which ones to disinclude, but that's what I'm very much so working on. Kind of deep, if you think about it. Go look at your rules and backtest and find out, hey, this rule you think is so important, how many bad trades did it save you? How many good trades did it save you? What is your average risk to reward, and lowball it, and find out if overthinking that is a net positive or a net negative overall. Because other than the big things, like the obvious things like the trend, I think we might be very surprised to find out it's not as net effective as we think it is, which I'm just blown away. That's why we ended up with the golden strategy. Is everybody wants this super complex, super has to be this fair value gap order block, blah, 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 blah. It has to, this percentage of a Fibonacci pivot / blah, blah, 19th wave, 1.6 degrees of, the moon. That doesn't make it any better. And the more convoluted you make it, the more good opportunities and bad opportunities you're missing. So I got out on my gold with the barely, above break even, but nothing special. I got out a little earlier than I should have here. Out on this wick, 93.75-ish, somewhere in there. So pretty much where price is currently at. Which again brings us to, why are we closing so early? Because why are we not taking that profit, being done with our mental and emotional exposure? If this gets a big enough pullback and I haven't hit my target, I can take another entry. But if I sit through this and now I have to trust it, and I locked my profit and I just wait for me to get knocked out in profit, now I've got half of the reward. I'm less on my emotional mental capital. Definitely have to look for a new trade now. That's a mess.
Just to touch on what you just said before, I've noticed, especially when I was starting out with the golden strategy, I used up a lot more mental capital, being very specific on the stop loss. Do I use the candle? Do I use the ATR? Do, this or that? The flip of the JGS. What you're saying is very true. The more rules you put into that side, especially for me, the more we learn out, a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Trying to find that balance.
Huge. And I'm open to doing this as a community, you guys. If you guys want to hang out and just talk shop. I know I'm a girly girl. Well, mostly a girly girl. Still a little techie and tradey, but I'm 100% open just to a round table effect of let's just talk. Let's just break down the pros and cons of, here's a strategy. For example, the inside out strategy that I'm looking to come out with here shortly. Let's look at all the different ways we can approach this, but what is the net impact of this approach? And of course you can backtest, but backtesting, especially on TradingView, is always generously optimistic because the entries only go in at candle closes. So it's generously optimistic, and that's great, but we want something that's going to track in real time. And the real time where here's the candle paint, you put a pending here, and it didn't activate technically till here. There's just a lot of variables. I want to know, and I want to build the most net effective rules that aren't just trackable for me, because I'm only one person, but for the masses. And of course, they can adapt and manipulate however they see fit, because at the end of the day, the trading is a personal journey. But that's what I'm about, is just finding the most net effective decisions to make. Because if I can take 2 or 3 JGS signals in a day, you won one, you lost one was break even. Cool. As long as you've got it better than a 1.5 to 1 risk reward, you're net positive, you're done. Hey, today you won 2 or 3, cool, you're done. Hey, tomorrow you lose 2 and you won 1, you're maybe break even or slightly at a loss. Okay, you're done. If we don't overcomplicate it and add all these if this then that but statements, we might find how amazing some of this stuff can be. So